Hello, my niece. Hey, I wanted to just throw some general information out here to you that you probably haven't heard, because the information that generally spreads is all bullshit. The population of the world. You know, part of the stuff that's being talked about with the New World Order and the Great Reset and all that is a reduction in population, right? Because the globalists, the elites, look at most of the populace of us all as what they call useless eaters. We're just eating up all the resources and they don't need us. So useless eaters got to go. But look, here's the thing. I had a conversation with a coworker last month, and he's telling me that there's too many people in the world. That's the problem. There's just too many people. Well, no, that's not the problem at all. The population of the world could fit in the state of Texas. I hear that all the time, and I forget. You'd have to Google it and see, but not just standing room only. I mean, they could, everybody could have a house. The entire world could live in Texas. Something like that. Look it up. But the population is not the problem. There's not too many people in the world. But feeding them could be a problem. That's because we don't manage our resources well. But before I get into that, sticking with the population thing, there's all this concern, or at least the internet folks that talk about conspiracies. The lighting's really bad in here, huh? Talk about the growing population, and of course, the more people there are to have babies, the faster the population can grow. So it's exponential growth, or potentially exponential growth. And so that's the thing, when there was only 1,000 people on the planet, they could only have so many kids, right? And now that we got billions on the planet, we can produce a lot of kids. So the population could grow very quickly, but it doesn't. And here's another thing you can Google. Check out birth rates or reproduction rates, I forget how they term it, for different nations or different nationalities or different races, whatever. Just find some statistics on birth rates, and you will see that we are far below what we need to just to maintain the population that the Earth has right now. Each woman or each couple has to have 2.1 kids to maintain the population. Well, 2 kids to maintain the population. 2.1 to grow a population. Well, we're below that now. And in different countries, they're producing different rates. America, I don't remember. It was years ago when I looked this up, but I think we were like 1.4, which is pretty damn low. And down in Mexico, they were better. I think they hit the 2 point something, maybe 3 something. They're producing pretty good down there. But the population that's really producing is the Islamic, the Muslim population. They're at a reproduction rate of like 7 kids per couple, per family, something like that. So they're definitely outpacing Americans and all that. But here's an interesting aspect that a lot of people don't realize. China. China had a one-child policy for years, and they might still have it. They had a 2-child policy, and then they went to a 1-child policy because their population was growing too fast. But they screwed themselves, because now, in order to have economic growth, or to even economic, sustainability, you have to have a mixed populace, right? You got to have enough people in the working class and the age of working, from 20 to 60 or whatever it is, the working range. And I heard somebody talking about this. He was talking about how some people, like the people who invest money in the system, are the older, more mature workers, like the 40 to 60-year-olds. The younger workers are a necessary part of the workforce, the age 20 to 40, and then kids. So we need this even distribution. The 20 to 40 range is consumers, 40 to 60 is the savers, and then beyond 60 is retirees. And so if we don't have enough kids, if it doesn't get evenly dispersed, then as these generations pass, we end up with an imbalance of the age ranges that we need, right? So if nobody had kids for a long time, we're going to get to a point where all the workers are going to retire and there's no new generation coming in to replace them, to take their jobs. And so we're losing. I don't understand this well enough to explain it. They say if you can't explain something to a 5-year-old, then you don't really understand it. So apparently I don't really understand this. But China is at a point where they're having most of their workers are going to be retiring soon, and because of that one-child policy they had, there's not a new workforce ready to come in and take over. So not only is this going to affect their economy in a huge way, but it's going to affect their entire populace. You know, Elon Musk is the only modern person that I've seen talk about this, but I read a thing that was put out by the Club of Rome, who is a very important secret society I'll talk about later. But they did this whole thing, predictions for the future about the environment, our different resources, and the population and consumption rate, and all these different things. And they anticipated a population collapse, which is also what I heard Elon Musk say last year. That he said, we don't have a population growth problem, we're looking at population collapse. And this is exactly why. And it's, you know, in America, we didn't have a one-child policy, but I heard it explained like 100 years ago, America was a different place. Most people grew up in the country. They lived on farms. Everybody had, you know, and with the urbanization of America, moving people from the farms, from country living into city living, changes the mechanics of how life functions, right? So if you got a big piece of land and a farm, having kids is free labor. Well, not free. I mean, you got to feed them, you got to raise them, you got to, but they're a labor force for you. But now when you move in the city, you no longer need a labor force, and now they are a nuisance. People have less kids once they moved into the city, where they used to have, 5 kids. Now they have 2 or even just 1 because, it's more difficult to take care of them. Now they're just noisy little eaters that are, not to knock kids. We need kid children, our future. Treat them well and let them lead the way. Anyway, so they move into the city, they have fewer kids. And so our numbers, just by the nature of the advancement of society and a more metropolitan lifestyle, getting away from the country has reduced our reproduction rates. So we don't have enough kids. Same situation that China's in. China's is really exaggerated, but we're in the same boat. We're not replacing our people, And here's an interesting part of that. With all the economic changes going on, we're looking at China becoming a new world economic force. The yen will probably replace the dollar as the world currency, the standard that everything is measured against. It'll be the yuan or the yen instead of the dollar. And China's a superpower right now. They've had huge economic growth. 9 minutes. And so they've been growing like crazy, but like I said, they're getting to that point where their workforce is retiring and they don't have a new one to replace it. So that they're looking at economic collapse in the next few decades. So if they become the world economic leader now, because America's going to fall apart, But anyway, if they become the world economic leader and then their economy collapses, what the fuck happens then? That's a weird thing. But at 10 minutes. I didn't even get to the part. Our topsoil is depleting. This is the problem with feeding everybody. We're losing all of our topsoil. There's less and less of it every year. We only have so many years of agriculture left. Over 10 minutes, so I'm going to cut this off.